So here is the result of our work. Well, I need to say that, of course, I wanted to thank Roberta for her presentation, which was no doubt very interesting. And, well, the good news is that our focus of analysis is in the same field, but a bit different. It goes, I think we can say it goes a bit into details and into content and drills in these networks. Networks of artists or creative people or anything. As Anicia has already said, this is a result of our previous, not a result, but we use the data obtained during our previous project, which was run up to 2012. And we tried to apply some new methods we haven't used in that project to these data. Well, what is good is that the good news again, the good news is that we had the opportunity to validate the data because we know the field pretty well, and we had the data after all. But well, a little bit worse news is that we are trying the new methods, and of course this is our first attempt, so there may be some inconsistencies, which we hope you will help us to identify. So that's,
go on.
I guess that's the main point.
We have only 30 minutes. I know.
Evil. This person is evil. Okay, so let's.
Yes. Stand here. Okay.
So what we tried to do in the project I told you about, we were trying to compare 4 creative communities working in St. Petersburg, and in this analysis we used the same materials on the same communities, and we also tried to compare across them, and we tried to use as the focus, we tried to use the idea of creative style, but use it not just in an artistic meaning, but a more a wider, sociological approach to creative style, which we are understood as a set of features characterizing how creative communities work, how they generate works of art, and the features which distinct them, at least from each other. The important thing is that we didn't have any normative like Osgood had for his semantic analysis. We had only these 4 communities, and we compared between them. So this is important to remember. And so we split creative style analytically into 4 components, which we analyzed, say, one by one, each 4 of the communities. And as for methods, yeah, Roberta was right. It would be perfect to talk on methods for hours and hours. So I won't explain all the thing. I just say in a few words that we used a network approach, and we used semantic networks analysis and communication networks analysis. Most of semantic networks were mapped using AutoMap, and all network data was mostly analyzed with Aura, but some UseNet was also used for some metrics. We've analyzed both eager metrics and whole network metrics and some other stuff, which we'll tell you about later. Okay. So I will let Alexandra present you the communities.
Okay, so we had 4 creative communities, and the CH is one of the oldest creative communities that we analyzed and one of the oldest in the city. They have the so-called political art agenda, and they are engaged very much into collaborative art, so they have a lot of projects connected with political and intellectual topics. And it is also characteristic of them that they don't have any particular place where they are situated. And also a very distinctive feature that there are not only artists in this creative community, but there are also philosophers, poets, meaning that the community is rather multidisciplinary. And here you can see the photos of yes, of the creative community and in its practices, going or doing something. The KU is the youngest community that we analyzed. It was established just 2 years ago by one artist, first as a gallery, then it was transformed into a set of studios where young artists just in the beginning of their careers could work together and try to do something in contemporary art. The third one is NE. It is also the place situated community, meaning that they have a studio space where they work and also a space for exhibitions. It's also noteworthy that there are more there are older artists who are working in the studios, or they are working for a longer period of time, and there are young artists coming just for temporary residence. And it's also interesting that the community was first established by 3 friends, but now they are functioning as a professional community and they have their own curator. And the fourth community is the PA community. It is also rather old, and they have a sort of division in age because they have elder members and young members, and elder members being connected to another creative community, and they also have some place where they exhibit. And what is interesting, the most interesting and sweet thing about them, that their gallery, which is named after a community name, is situated in the corridor of another art center. And this lies in line with their ideology. They are occupying the bodies of other cultural institutions. And so now we start talking about their components, and this is the organizational part where we had quite a lot of indicators, and we'll try to speak of some of them, just of some of them. And I think maybe Nikita will tell about the network metrics.
Skip many of the metrics we used, just not to overload you with numbers, but we thought it was important to give you the impression of what kinds of metrics may be analyzed and used in such kind of analysis. So in the organizational dimensions, I got to tell that we've been performing these calculations and the further analysis during the last weeks. So sometimes it's not always perfect.
In visualizing.
Unlike Roberta, we are not that well prepared yet.
But still.
So, for example, in organizational part of style, we compared communication network centralization measures. They were various, so they allow us just to see which actors are, to see if there are many of your actors which are in key brokerage position in the networks, controlling communication streams, and so we can, and of course we can see that some have very strong, like 66% centralization here, and the CH has very low, like 3%, which also is also meaningful when we make conclusions about the creative style, but maybe we can explain it a bit later. Another thing which you won't see, even if I make it this large, but it was also important because we consider the strength of ties as well. In terms of frequency of contacts, so thus we also try to find out how intensely they interact or they are not, and what does it mean. So here we see just a small remark that we obviously see that much more intense in communication are KU and NE, the communities which are co-located. Okay, so the next one is again.
The key name concepts.
Not to just go into details, despite the wish to, but so we used this is a semantic network data, and we try to analyze the positions of different actors, primarily those who are in best positions according to different metrics. For example, authority centrality of frequency, the names of the community members, how often the names are mentioned, how central in authority these concepts are in semantic networks, and so on. Sometimes it gives interesting results because often, not often, but in some cases, not the leaders appear to be the most central in authority, not the conventional leaders, but the people as project participants here probably know this situation between the not formal, but the acknowledged leader of the community and his rival, who is often questioning his leadership and the community identity itself. That's it. Now, Alexandra.
Okay, so we told that one of the key parameters is the communication frequency, and it really shows that the communication is rather big in all of the communities, but still it is the largest in KU, and also to see where the communication flows, through which links. So we try to grasp, to picture, the communication networks. So in CH, and also further I will show you in PA, there are some subgroups or some links that are more strong than others.
Here it is very
yes, I want to see to show PA.
So PA?
PA.
Okay.
And PA, you see a lot of yellow links, but rather rare red links, but they tie together the dyads or maybe even the subgroups. But in the situation with KU and NE, there are a lot of actors like this tied with red links, and we think that we can with strong red links, yes, and we think that we can analyze it through existing of the core or through existing of the subgroups or the dyads or the more numerous subgroups which are constantly communicating. And when we look further and also refer to our qualitative data, we really see that in PA has a huge number of participants. There is really place for generation of subgroups who are constantly linked together in their everyday life. For example, FE and LE, who make up one separate group. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, and one more indicator of the organization component. Yes, and we are only here. We are only here. Yes, is the place connectedness. As I told you previously, some of the communities have a shared space or place where they work or where they exhibit, some of them don't. And to see how this can influence their knowledge, their representation about themselves, we looked at the space concept and at it a semantic surrounding. Yes, here is, unfortunately, Roberto won't understand, but we will translate. Here are the columns representing each of the communities and their understanding of the space concept. And for the CH community, the space is understood in a rather abstract way. So they perceive it as a city space, as a social space, as a post-Soviet space, as a space for production, as a cultural space, which means that they work with the space not as a tool or infrastructure, but as an objective of their creative practice, as a social environment, as a context that they have to rethink. But the other three communities, they have a rather concrete understanding. For example, PA, there is space which is connected to the gallery, or the exhibition space, the same too with KU and also with NE. So these differences show us the creative process features and also how these influence the understanding and the result, their creative product. Another component, second one, identity making, eventually. Here we also had different indicators, and one of them is the community name. How often do the creative communities refer to their community name, the outer reference?
This is also a semantic network analysis measure.
Yes,
measures.
yes. And also how do they perceive the community name and the concepts that are linked to the community name. One of the interesting findings is that the PA community has the strongest outer reference. It is several times
it's one of
more
the most
than others.
Frequent concepts used by the community and among any others, like
you see,
more than art,
it's like more
less
like
than art at least, and so
yes, like one when others have like very little. And also, what is interesting that not here, but in other tables and in other semantic networks that we made around the community name, we saw that there are a lot of forms of this community name which are turning into verbs, which are turning into nouns, and with which the community name their practices, the places where they are themselves, their kids, and everyone else, just this turning into some alternative reality that they create with the help of their community name.
Marking everything with their community name.
And for the others, it's not the same. So here the collective identity making is rather picturesque for the PA community. And from another side, making of the identity can be grasped through references to external authorities, from art field to external institutions or places to external art events. And here we can also see it's a semantic network measure, and here we can also see that, for example, the CH is referring mostly not to the art field, but to the philosophers and authorities who are theoreticians and who belong to the left intellectual thought. For example, the NE refers to few, and they are just referring to the star of the world art. Oh. And the PA have rather diverse reference system. For example, this is the name of the well-known city artist. This is Hearst, the name of the worldwide known artist, and this is the name of the community here. And for KU, therefore, mostly to other communities except for CH. Yes, this meaning that, well, we make a conclusion here that they are just rapidly developing community and they want to look at others and to develop their own line. And this is not very well It's not so visible.
So this is another way to analyze
data.
A little bit more qualitative here.
Yeah, we wanted to show in comparison the pictures of concept surroundings. This is the concept biennale in the center, and the picture for every community. Just comparing these pictures, we can see that they're rather diverse in their understanding. For example, this is CH, and I'm telling you, you don't see it, but I'm telling you that the CH is the most cosmopolitan in understanding of the biennale. They name any possible biennale in the world. The other pictures, NE and KU, they name and PA, they name mostly local biennale, Moscow. Very often Young Biennale is named, which is a very well-known event for young artists in Russia. But what is interesting this is the NE network. You see, it's rather poor. And show me the PA network.
The network is just, semantic network is not very diverse. This is why this happens. But the references are the same as the KU has, the most important ones. The Venice Biennale and the Young Biennale.
And what is interesting about the PA, I really want to show it here to you. Yeah. Here you see the Biennale and the Young Biennale. It's okay, it's a cliche and everyone loves the Young Biennale. But here is another linkage, Biennale and senior or elderly. This is a fictional semantic structure that was constructed by the PA, being very ironic and trying to make fun of different classic mainstream events in art field, just trying to deconstruct the symbols of the mainstream art field, making their own interpretations of art events and of everything else. And this is completely.
This construct is much more, is much stronger for them than the initial one.
Yes.
So this is again about constructing the alternative reality by the PA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, and the third component.
But we can't even like it.
Yes, this is yours.
Oh my God, I made it. So
yes, you did.
Just to put it very briefly, we also have not the details of the semantic network structures, but also the whole network measures, which help us to somehow judge about the discourse produced by the community, its macro properties. For example, all the communities have rather high fragmentation, meaning that there are many concepts that are not linked to the others in their semantic networks. Or we have, for example, just simply the amount of words and concepts produced by the communities. So we can see which ones of them are more active in discourse making, in text writing and presenting the text, and which are less. I don't know. So we can see here, for example, so more classical pure artists, they are 10 times, yes, more than 10 times.
The NE, we mean, yes, pure art, they are making mainstream pure art mostly.
In concepts and in verse speaking words. Okay, I won't go into details here. So the important thing that often semantic networks are very low in centrality measures and in density. So to look at some metrics, we need to analyze not the whole networks but the cores of the networks, which are usually more dense. Okay.
And here are the cores, the semantic core of CH.
I think we shouldn't go deep into the details.
Yes, but we can say still that CH is, you can list further, and we will see that CH has the most developed semantic core, because more ties and everything. And also what we found earlier, it is also here in their core network, because they are speaking of art which is political, socially engaged. They are speaking of intellectuals and artists being in sort of obligation and about intellectual workers who are in conflict with the system. They are speaking of public and social spaces, and they are speaking of political, which is the core concept for them. Political situation, political forces, political movements, political struggle. Others don't speak so much about politics and about the political context. The KU is...
Maybe just one more.
Okay.
PA.
PA. Okay.
Do you want PA?
PA. So they have this interesting, this is their... Oh, we didn't...
What?
You don't see it, but okay. They have a network. They just connected to their community name, just linking to some different groups, to galleries, to spaces. They have this big yes. Yeah. Here it is. You see the strongest lines, the strongest ties. They have this art again. As the CH has, but they don't have any political concepts here. What they do have is the contemporary art, which is perhaps one of the strongest ties for every community. But they also have the specific examples of their own art, which is the names of the exhibition and the senior biennale I told you about previously.
Linked to art itself.
Yes, so linked to art. So the ironic names of their ironic exhibitions or projects which were not realized are very linked to their understanding of art. And we should go to the creative practices, Nikita.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because we have only 5 minutes left.
Yeah, but this is another kind of diagram, also useful. So
a lot of diagrams.
Yes, just
I'll just tell that in meaning making we can take semantic course, we can take concepts that are related to art, for example the arts or the creative process, and compare how the creative communities think of these things.
So here we can see that CH has the strongest link from creative process to collective, so they perceive creative process primarily as a collective thing above anything else.
Move on.
Okay.
Move on. Move on.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Okay, just one comment that text and picture, for example, text is not at all significant for the three communities except for CH. Well, it is rather, it is a bit significant, it is even more significant for PA, but still, they perceive it as a creator text, as a creator practice, while CH perceive it as a theoretical text or something that can be psychological or something, while the picture, the concept picture, which was previously on the slide, it is more perceived by those communities who are making, well, pure art or mainstream art by KU and NE. There are also some, you can move on, yes. There are also some concepts which we will see. This is yes. So there. Okay. Yeah. Let me tell. So let me tell some words.
We are coming to the end, arriving to the final point.
Okay. No. I just wanted. I didn't understand where is our creative practices component. Okay.
That
It was too quick.
practices component was text, picture.
Ah, yes. Okay. Okay. Okay.
According to different metrics considered, we haven't mentioned all of them. We grouped them and then we grew. They were united. They were aligned to different components of creative styles profiles, and this is the resulting diagram. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I will tell a few words more. You see here are the four of the components, four of the big components, yes, and here are the different indicators that we took. And here we see the green and the red is the KU and the NE communities going mostly together in this shape, which is rather alike, and in this direction. What we can see looking at the indicators is that they are both of them are rather it is rather valuable for them, the space connectedness, because we conclude they are making art which is more classical, more pure. They're making sculptures, they're painting pictures. That's why they need more space. NE is more moved to mainstream, and while it is a community, I told you earlier, they are quite famous already, and they have built their careers already. They are more focused on post-production. They are not talking about collective production, about making collective projects, but they talk more about how to move them into the market, while the KU, which are also going maybe into this direction, but they are still young and they have this discourse heterogeneity. That means that they are talking more about their position, trying to find their own style and their own line, where to go, where to move, to gain this fame.
It's not talking about the positions, it's about the variety of discourse. They use different concepts, and the NE is is less diverse, probably because they are more stable now, because they know what they speak of. They want particular things to be expressed. They're not looking for anything else.
Yes, while the blue one is the CH, and this violet one is the KU, and here we see more connection to collective artwork or working group, which is more oriented on activism. Speaking of CH, which is blue, we see that they have huge discourse activity and rather big external, rather large number of external references, and also they have multidisciplinarity in their structure. So they are more oriented on making collective projects. They do not have a shared space. They are not represented here, but what they are addicted to, this is collective structure of collective projects, which they can do in a good organized environment. And for the PA, about whom we told that they are ironic and they construct their alternative reality, the collective identification and collective identity making is perhaps one of the most distinctive features for their creative process, creative product they make. And while they can't maybe they have to fulfill this longing for alternative things and outsider art, as they are sometimes classified. They have this activism practices of performance, practices of involving people, and this also shows their creative style. And they have also a lot of diverse external references. What I forgot?
I don't think so.
Well, in fact, I think that here are, yes, so this beautiful flower shows us as if different directions the creative communities take. I think that we will stop here, yes?
Yeah, we could try to name the styles, but we still haven't developed
Yes.
what should be the names.
Yes, we are trying to elaborate a sort of classification net to grasp them.
Probably we need some methods and samples to have the opportunity to compare not just several communities, but to make broader comparisons.
Okay, so that's it. Do you have any clarification questions for now?
Was it all based on interviews?
We haven't listed the data now, not only.
So the semantic network, or the data for semantic networks, was based on interviews, on texts taken from the sites and from the public sources, and also from the blogs. Yes, I think that's what was the main.
In the communities.
Yes.
The dialogues, the polylogues in the communities.
And the communicative network was taken from the questionnaire, the network questionnaire, which we had later than the main project.
It's just similar probably to the one Roberto used, but with valued metrics of communication frequency.
How did you measure frequency of communication? What questions did you?
There was a scale for the number.
Really often, or
no, it was more diverse.
This much times, in this period. I don't remember the exact, just something like 5 or more times a week.
Okay.
Yeah, like this.
The last one was like once a month or
once in a month, yes, and the most frequent one was more than one time in a day. I think that was the most frequent.
Okay. Anyway, so we can show you.